Where is Vuri? When does death cry? Why do the dead visit their relatives? Who can become a punisher? How can you identify a changeling in a child? And on which day do the dead attend church? Hi, I'm Nik Lysytskiy. Welcome to the magical world of Ukrainian mythology, a show about extraordinary characters and captivating phenomena. In this chilling episode, we'll delve into the mysteries of the afterlife in Ukrainian mythology, discover the secrets and customs surrounding the dead and the supernatural elements of life beyond death. In Ukrainian mythology, Vuri is a mythical land where birds migrate for the winter. While today we only use the term to describe the migration of birds, traditionally Vuri also referred to the afterlife, the realm where people went after death. So how do birds fit into the picture? In this video, we'll uncover this connection and explore how our ancestors envisioned the world of the dead. According to folk beliefs, the cuckoo is the first bird to fly to Vuri, as it holds the keys to this realm. It also helps other weary birds on their journey. The stork is the last to depart. Sparrows, however, do not migrate to Vuri, which is attributed to a divine curse. Interestingly, snakes also migrate to Vuri for the winter, but their Vuri is different. While birds' Vuri is in the south, beyond the sea, the snake's Vuri lies in deep underground caverns hidden in dense forests. In ancient times, both birds and snakes were considered embodiments of the souls of the deceased, which is why Vuri came to be seen as the other world. There were various beliefs about where Vuri was located: at the edge of the world, in the sky, across the sea, in the forest, underground, or even underwater. This diversity reflects not only the migration patterns of birds and the burrowing habits of snakes, but also the different burial practices that varied by region and era. The dead were sometimes sent across water in boats, burned on ritual pyres, or had their ashes suspended in pots on trees, or buried. One of the oldest beliefs was that the path to the other world was through water, like a whirlpool in a river or a well. The Arab traveler Ibn Fadlan, who visited Rus, described a funeral where a servant girl, who agreed to accompany her master to the afterlife, was led to a well. Looking into it, she saw a green garden with her deceased parents, and the dead prince calling her to join him. So, what did our ancestors think the world of the dead was like? They imagined it as a reflection of our world, but everything was reversed, a sort of mirror world or antiverse. This belief is also linked to rituals and superstitions about mirrors. Moreover, time flowed differently in the other world. 1 hour there equaled 10 years here. According to legend, a man who went to the grave at the invitation of his deceased friend to have a drink returned to find that all his relatives and acquaintances had passed away. In Ukrainian mythology, Vuri is not only associated with death, but also with birth. It was believed that souls of unborn children waited there. Their arrival was often assisted by migratory birds, leading to the belief that storks or geese were the ones who brought babies. The typical image of death, well known across Europe since the Middle Ages, is a skeleton wielding a scythe. This portrayal is also found in Ukrainian demonology, where death is envisioned as an old bony woman or just a skeleton. Besides her scythe, she might also wield a broom or a shovel. In the Carpathians, it was believed that death eats nothing and simply roams the world killing people, whether by cutting with a scythe, raking with a rake, sweeping with a broom, burying with a shovel, or expelling the soul from the body. It was also said that when death comes for children, her weeping and wailing can be heard, whereas for the elderly, she merely calls them out by name. In Policia, people thought that death appeared in the evening or at night as a tall white pillar or shadow. If you poked her with a stick, she would vanish. scaring death away with a stick. Those Polesian traditions were certainly unique. From Ukrainian folklore, it's clear that our ancestors took a philosophical view of death and often tried to deceive her to extend their lives. Death was bound, trapped in a sack, begged to wait, or even asked to return the next day. There are tales of inviting death to baptize a child, after with the godmother/death might help with wealth. Spirits of the dead are one of the largest categories in Ukrainian mythology. We've covered many of them in previous seasons: Domovik, Mavka, Nishnytsia, Perolesnik, Rursalki, Strachata, and Upur. But there's more. This episode will delve into less charismatic but equally eerie figures. During the time of Rus, the dead, especially those who became malevolent spirits, were known as Navi. The primary chronicle mentions them, describing how in Polotsk, Navis rode ghostly horses through the streets, killing everyone in their path. The presence of the horses was identified by the hoofprints left behind. In Ukraine, those who died prematurely were called zastavny. It was believed that they existed between heaven and earth for at least 7 years. These walking dead would visit their relatives if they had not been properly mourned, or if their relatives missed them greatly. They might also come back to seek revenge on those who had wronged them. For instance, one story tells of a woman who returned to strangle her husband for mistreating her in life. In another story, a corpse tore a girl apart for laughing at him and removing his hat. Many folk tales describe the dead regularly visiting their relatives or even continuing to live with them or visiting favorite places like a tavern. If the dead became too bothersome, people used various methods to get rid of them. It was believed that a dead person would stop haunting if you threw a pillow at them, trapped them with a consecrated belt and sprinkled them, or expressed surprise at their appearance. The most reliable method, however, was to drive a stake right through their heart. Purgatory souls are a type of ghost who, due to sin or evil deeds committed during their lifetime, cannot enter the afterlife until these wrongdoings are atoned for by themselves or by their loved ones. As a result, they are doomed to wander the earth and suffer various torments, depending on the severity of their actions. So who had the chance of becoming a purgatory soul? This list included people who were excessively greedy, someone who married their godmother, or someone who died without confessing their sins. Even priests could fall into this category. For instance, one tale tells of a priest who became a purgatory soul because he ordered to be buried in a dirty shirt. He only stopped appearing after being exhumed and reburied in clean clothes. Another case involved a priest who hoarded money throughout his life and had to distribute it to charity before he found peace. Drowned souls are those who have drowned, whether intentionally or accidentally. It was believed that they remain in this world for 7 years, staying in the water where they drowned. They could also come onto land, but only as far as the water would reach during floods. They usually appeared as ordinary people, but were either completely white or black and had thick, long hair. Drowned souls are quite troublesome, often engaging in malicious activities. They might try to drag people into the water to drown them, overturn boats, disrupt fishing, or scare fishermen by getting caught in nets. Additionally, it was said that if a drowned soul saw a living person, it would immediately start laughing. Odminok is a mythological figure in Ukrainian folklore, originating from the afterlife but not technically a deceased person. Its existence highlights how closely the living were intertwined with supernatural forces in the minds of our ancestors. An Odminok is a child swapped by evil spirits. It is also known as an Odminik or Vidminik. Ukrainian beliefs held that a devil might steal a baby and replace it with its own. Odminok has a small head, long ears, thin legs, and a large belly. It is constantly sick, does not walk until it is 7 years old, and is always hungry. No matter how much it is fed, it continues to eat. It was said that if you left food in pots and went out, Odminok would eat everything and even break the pots. Due to such behavior, odmynoks were often punished with whips. To prevent a baby from becoming an odmynok, a knife was placed in the cradle. Additionally, a fire had to be kept burning in the stove or fireplace where the child was. It was also important not to speak ill or mention evil spirits in the house to avoid summoning them. To get rid of an odmynok, it was necessary to take it to a crossroads or a rubbish dump. The evil spirit would then take back its own child and return the human child, saying, "I bathe your child in butter, feed him with butter and cheese while you mock my own." In Ukrainian mythology, the dead had their own holiday called Dead Man's Easter. On this day, the dead would rise from their graves and go to church, where a deceased priest would conduct a service for them. Dead Man's Easter was celebrated on different days, depending on the region of Ukraine. On Holy Thursday before Easter, on the first Tuesday or Thursday after Easter, or on what was known as Living Monday at the beginning of Lent. According to tradition, at midnight on Dead Man's Easter, the church bell would ring 3 times, and the dead would rise from their graves and head to the local church. The first to arrive was the deceased priest. He would say a prayer, after which the church doors would open by themselves. The dead would enter, listen to the service, and then leave. The church doors would close, the roosters would crow a 3rd time, and the dead would return to their graves. It was considered very dangerous for the living to see the dead on Dead Man's Easter. Some stories say that people who missed their deceased relatives so much that they dared to visit the church at night would end up dying themselves. On Dead Man's Easter, the deceased could also come back to punish those who had not honored them. Therefore, people were advised to refer to the dead only by name and avoid using terms like dead or deceased. Additionally, graves were cleaned, food was left there, a lamp was lit in the house, and a memorial dish called kolyava was placed on the windowsill. So make sure to hit the notification bell to stay updated on new episodes and share our project with your friends and family. Let's spread the word about Ukrainian mythology together. The 3rd season of The Magical World of Ukrainian Mythology was made possible with the support of the Ukrainian Cultural Foundation through the Stipend grant program.